So groups will chop and change, and if it's not the right mix, then it just doesn't work for you. But also that regular time commitment thing, it takes up a lot of your time. And when I got out, I wanted something different, and I wanted something a bit more fun. So the whole strategy around it is to try and just make it more fun. It's a celebration event rather than pure networking. So it's about that chance, because I find it's more gets done over a coffee or a glass of beer or a glass of wine than a lot of stiff boardroom style events. So that's why it's people come in, you get to meet them, you get to interact, and you can soon work out if they're a good sort of fit for your network, but also if there's someone that you can work with.
I think one of the mistakes that I certainly see a lot is people think that if I just become a better expert, someone somewhere will suddenly recognise my expertise and buy from me. Whereas if we get better at building relationships, we only need to be competent at what we do. In fact, most clients don't expect us to be more than competent. They don't expect us to be an expert. They certainly expect us to be competent as opposed to incompetent. But get better at building relationships and just be good at what you do, and that is one of the secrets to success. Welcome back to another episode of More Clients, Less Effort. I was about to call my podcast something else, Leath. More Clients, Less Effort. You're in the right place. If this is the show you're in for, I am joined by the amazing Leath Margrie here. Mate, Leath, you've been in the broking game for 20 years now, and you founded the Lending Therapist to help how to show clients the money, right? Of course, referring to the awesome movie with Tom Cruise, Cuba Gooding Jr.
That's the one. That's the one too.
Names escapes me now, was it? What's it called? Jerry Maguire. And providing a caring, patient and reliable focused service. If you're a small business that can use access to other people's money to allow it run more efficiently and effectively, then Leath helps, particularly Australian businesses, find a tailored solution to help you. Now, Leath, I know, mate, you going back, way back, you jumped out of high school and joined the Royal Australian Air Force as an avionics technician.
That's right.
And then thought, bugger this, there's a natural progression here, career path into mortgage lending. Tell me about that. Where did this interest in broking for a start, but it'll be also founding your own business come from?
Yeah, well, thanks, Tim, and just welcome everyone. Yeah, look, it started off to go into the things I really like, the opportunity to try and travel and fix planes, and that worked well for a period of time. And then I got out and I did a couple other jobs, but the troubleshooting and the trying to help clients, because back then the pilots were my clients, so you had to talk to them every time they brought a busted plane back, so you had to talk to them and try and work out where the problems were and fix it. And so that coupled with I used to have to buy and sell property during that period of time. I mean, I had a broker myself, and so yeah, I took those together, and after a lot of the roles that I did, it was just like the writing was on the wall. Well, back then I was reading the newspaper, which doesn't happen too much anymore, but so the Saturday morning paper, and sent an ad for the Aussie mortgage market, and went out that night and chatted to a bloke that I knew, and we just talked about loans again, and I was like, geez, you always talk about these loan stuff, why don't you become a broker? I was like, well, okay, well, send the ad in the morning, and the universe must be talking to me, so yeah.
It's funny how that really happens, and applaud you for spending your 20s investing in property when most young men in their 20s are investing in growing a handsome beer belly from all the beers they're drinking, and occasional game of footy on the weekend and whatever else they might be doing, chasing women around. But you found yourself investing, which I think is an amazing thing in itself. But it's funny how we kind of get to this point where we turn a passion into an opportunity to go, I'm really interested in this thing, I'm doing it a lot, and someone just says, hey, have you thought about doing this? And you're like, that seems really obvious.
Yeah, that's right. And look, I think the RAF is really good for a few things, but it also taught me that you could turn up quite often. There was not much to do, and you thought, geez, there must be more I can do in my life. And then sort of got to the opportunity of calling my own shots and being the own boss, and the opportunity to actually just work hard and make something out of it. So that was, I think that was probably one of the big attractions to small business. I think, of course, you always got to start out small, and it's definitely a big learning curve when you start the business. But just that jump from POIG certainty to the roller coaster ride of being a business owner, it took a little bit of guts, but we got there. So
what is it for you? I know a little bit about the broking space, and even when you're working, I guess, for another lender within an agency like Aussie Broker Market and so on, you're still kind of almost an independent contractor. You're still kind of building your own business within that, aren't you?
Yeah, there's so many models now on what you can do. But back when I first started, yes, you were contracted to Aussie, and that's how it sort of worked. And then you could either go off on your own. There's PLE models in the broking game these days, depending on sort of where you fit into the mix and what you're looking to do and what certainty. But yeah, been on my own as a contractor for pretty much all the time. And then sort of went out my own sort of steam purely and solely back in 2015. So
that's Leath Lending Therapist, right?
Yep.
Talk to me about that. Why? What was some of the challenges in establishing your own brand as opposed to working under an existing one?
So Aussie was a good start because it gave you the thinkers back then. They were the only people that were willing to take non-banking staff, and so you sort of learned how it worked, but then you soon realised that Aussie only had a small percentage of market, and it was like, well, I could keep working for bigger names, or I could go out on my own, and that's kind of how it sort of dawned on me that, so branding is important, of course, but it's generally the relationship with the person that you're dealing with. So that's what I used to look at dealing with other companies myself. It's like, didn't really care what the logo looked like or the company name was.
Who cares what?
Yeah. Same as it's like dealing with Tim. I don't really care what Tim's cool in the background, but Tim's a good bloke, so I want to deal with him. And that's kind of how I sort of looked at it. Yeah, so building up that brand, I think, is really about the person itself. So some flashy stuff that you can do to get the branding there, but unless you've got, back in 2003, I think Aussie was there 26 mil or 30 mil a year, I think it was, on their marketing. So if they're spending that much, and I think they had 2% share back then, it's like, you've got that, unless you've got big, deep pockets.
So presumably, as a smaller business, and I know you've got some team members who help you out in the back, but it's still the Leath show. How do you find the difference in terms of some of your marketing now from a company that used to spend $20-30 million a year in advertising to running a smaller shop where you're the thing? What are the strategies that you're employing that you find more effective?
Yeah, so once again,
I was spending $20 million. Yeah,
definitely not indeed. Yeah, look, it's I find it's horses for courses. So if you've got the right personality, that pure online social type thing where you're running all the Facebook ads and that stuff, that works for a lot of people. It's a paid lead gen by certain people, that works. I think for me, I'm more of a relationship guy, so it's really about sort of making sure that I'm building relationships with sort of key partners. Of course, the financial planners and accountants are the sort of obvious ones, but it's also other people that I can tap into because they've all got different clients. And especially when it comes to small business owners, it's good to have a range of sort of referral partners, because that's where I find that they do the heavy lifting almost thing and sort of say that I'm a sort of good bloke, you need to go and talk to him. And that's what I find is the most effective thing. And then just looking after your database, because your clients are there and they know you. So you just got to stay in touch and just make sure you're looking after them.
Yeah, depth of relationship is so important, I think, when you're a personality-led brand, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know you do, just pivoting to some of your strategies, I know that you run a regular and business lunch, right? So Leath's Gleeful lunches. Tell me how you kind of, I guess, germinated this idea of running a business networking lunch to get together as a method to, build those relationships and attract clients. And how does that give you leverage in what you do? What have you learned from doing that experience?
Yeah, so started off, was April last year, and that was after trying some of the more sort of bigger name networking style of event. So the BNIs of the world and that thing, I did that, and they work well for a lot of people. But after a while, it's like any group. Cigarettes will chop and change, and if it's not the right mix, it just doesn't work for you. But also that regular time commitment thing, it takes up a lot of your time. And when I got out, I wanted something different, and I wanted something a bit more fun. So the whole strategy around it is to try and just make it more fun. It's a celebration event rather than pure networking. So it's about that chance, because I find it's more gets done over a coffee or a glass of beer or a glass of wine than a lot of stiff boardroom style events. So that's why it's people come in, you get to meet them, you get to interact, and you can soon work out if they're a good fit for your network, but also if there's someone that you can work with. And so the websites and resumes are pretty much the same. They always show the good stuff, but until you actually talk to them and get some interaction, you can't really tell sort of who you're dealing with. And that was the reason, is I wanted to get to know people in a casual environment, and just bring more people into my network to try and have more and more contacts around the place. So it's all about fun. All about relax.
I think that's the thing, right? We do so much about when we sell to people we know, like, and trust. And literally just before we jumped on this podcast, I received a message on Facebook, right? And it was actually on a post I put up actually last week's podcast. And the guy said, "Tim, I've just DM'd you And I've gone, okay. And of course, the message is, hi, Tim, hope you're doing well. There's a little emoji on there to make it nice and personal. And then straight into the sales pitch, promising 100x ROI on my ad spend, not over what period, which is interesting. Can we arrange a call to discuss further? And I've gone, hey, let's call it, say, Dave, for argument's sake, right? It's not actually Dave. Thanks for reaching out. And his reply to that is, are you interested in our services? And I'm like, well, maybe it'd be wonderful if you actually got to know me first and decided whether I've got a problem that I want solved and whether I like you enough to want to solve it. And I think this idea of having a really social get-together on a regular basis, if you're a relationship-driven enterprise, like mortgage broking very much is, focusing on strategies that consistently build that relationship, actually, in your case, which is working really well, isn't it?
Yeah, thinking it's one of those things is kind of like I sort of said at the start, it really boils down to which personality that you are. So if you're the sort of the quick fix and that stuff within the Facebook ads and that sort of quick transactional stuff can work, whereas mine is a lot slower, but I find the relationships are just a lot stronger. As I said before, it's about sort of understanding as the person, and then, do I actually have a pain point, or do I have a pain point further down the stuff? And if you're doing the regular easygoing conversations and getting to know people, then they just naturally sort of want to come back to you because they know you, and you're not that push, and it's used car salesman type thing where it's just go. So yeah, that works for some people,
but deeper connection, which is
it works for my personality. So yeah,
I think one of the mistakes that I certainly see a lot is people think that if I just become a better expert, someone somewhere will suddenly recognize my expertise and buy from me. Whereas if we get better at building relationships, we only need to be competent at what we do. In fact, most clients don't expect us to be more than competent. They don't expect us to be an expert. They certainly expect us to be competent as opposed to incompetent.
Yep.
But get better at building relationships and just being good at what you do. And that is one of the secrets to success.
Yeah, correct. And that's the key thing. And that also works on my business side is it's all about relationships with the lenders that you're dealing with, and you get more done with a little magic wand rather than trying to go with the big stick. And so, yeah, that's how I do things. Like you said, not the biggest and best broker. I'm a good broker, but yeah, it's all about just trying to constantly improve as well, because there's always something happening in the market. There's always happening something with policies. And so you're trying your best, but like I said before, there's people that will just try and be that smartest person there, but they probably don't have the right personality to deal with the average client. So yeah.
Let me pull back the hood a bit in terms of how you manage your lunches. So we've got a monthly get together, right? Presumably at a local restaurant. How do you manage who comes, guests? What do you do in that space to kind of go, I need to come back to you next time to invite you to next month's, or how do you do that?
Yep. So it's a bit of a role between myself and one of my admin girls. But basically, I actually have different venues, and that's part of the excitement for me as well, as I change a venue every month. And I try and mix up what's happening. So as it might be an activity, we went to Maniacs recently, so you were throwing axes. This month's a beer tasting place, and then we go to gin places. So it's all different to the venues, and I find that's part of the attraction. So that's me trying to work with small business owners as well. So the work, so the small ones that have got some interaction style venues, and then it's pretty much it's an invite only, because I don't just put it out to the masses.
From you, or can a guest invite a guest?
Right, so I've got a bit of a list that I build up, and as part of my chats when I'm just speaking to other business owners or as prospects, or basically sort of whoever there is, if I get a bit of a feel that there might be a good fit, well, then I'll offer it to them. That's just part of the soft way into the relationship. And then basically they go on to the invite list, and they can purchase a ticket if they can make it on the day. And then it's really about them trying to bring a small business guest. So that way you kind of hope that if they're a good person themselves, then they're going to bring a good person as well.
Yep. So how does this new person, say you invite me because I'm a good bloke, I like to think so.
Yep.
I go and invite Nick because Nick's a good bloke. How does Nick get onto your list? Does Nick fill out a form as well? I presume Nick's registering and paying, so there's some form of form and payment link that just gets shared on.
Yeah, correct. So the invite will go out to the list, and then there's the booking link, and then people can share that. And then once you go in and you actually book your seat and your money, then pretty much I capture a few details, and then my admin girl will just make sure that they're on the list thing for future events. And then part of the invite says that guests are welcome, so please bring a friend for moral support or for more fun. So yeah,
someone to hold your hand. Actually, it does remind me, we recorded an episode of Influence by Design with my co-host on that podcast, Sam Riley, and what we called Swifties, right? So Taylor Swift has managed to build an incredible following by using a very similar strategy that you're doing. And she actually gets her fan base to market her to more people who can then be exposed to her product. And doing this kind of strategy that you're describing is almost exactly the same. You have a network of people that you invite, right? Who, as you're talking to, and I know you work almost exclusively with business owners, not PAYG employees, but by having them bring someone, it's effectively having your customers market to more potential customers, right? Yeah. And that qualification round, are you a good bloke? Make sure you bring a good bloke along. What do we want to call them? Ladies in business as well. You're kind of almost pre-qualifying that you're having good people bring good people who then get on your list. And of course, as you do more of these events, they bring good people as well. And it doesn't require a huge number of people to start with, does it? And you could probably get lots of people together for a lunch and say, hey guys, we're going to do a lunch this week. Who wants to get together and have a good time, share some stories and talk some business and see what opportunities we grab?
Yeah, correct. And I like to keep the groups relatively small anyway, so it kind of works itself out that, generally there's a dozen to 20 people that will turn up, and that for most venues is a comfortable number as well. So it gives me a chance to mingle, and there's a bit of a thing that I do. It's kind of like an old-fashioned sort of dinner party, so I have a couple of icebreakers. I do some things to help make sure that everyone's intermingling, and so everyone gets a chance to talk about themselves both on the business side and the personal side. Yeah, so it's really about trying to make sure that you're just not turning up and stuck in the corner by yourself. Because been to plenty of events like that before, it's not much fun if you just get stuck in the corner. So.
One thing I really love about this event strategy as well is, you get to stand up in the front of everybody and give you a little welcome pitch and say, hey, I'm Leath from Leath Lending Therapist, or hey, I'm Tim from Winmore Clients. Thanks for coming along today. Right, this is what's going to happen. Is just by leading the group, there's an assumed authority and excellence in what you do for a job as well, isn't there? Right? And I've certainly had, when I've led networking groups like what you're doing before, I've had recommendations, referrals to people outside of that just because I'm leading the group effectively. Yeah. So the assumed competence at what you do as a job is just there without necessarily having to bust out all the marketing buzzwords to prove it as well.
Yeah, correct. And that's part of that authority stuff, which is good. It's there and it's not too pushy. So
yeah, and a really easy strategy to throw up as a small business, low cost.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I'm going to put this on I'm definitely putting this on my to-do list. Because I like lunches and hanging out with cool people. But it's, as I said, it's a really easy, it's a low cost, easy strategy to put in place that can potentially build both key strategic partnerships and end clients with the right people. We always finish up the podcast with a bit of a quick fire. And so I have slightly pre-warmed you with these questions so I don't catch you completely off guard. But I want to know, what's your favourite holiday movie and what does that say about you?
So the holiday movie, I don't normally watch movies on holiday, but if I did, I'd go into a cinema and try and watch a sci-fi movie just because I like science fiction and space stuff. So pick a Marvel movie, and that's probably me watching it.
The Christmas blockbuster. What's one thing in your business that you didn't expect?
Probably the roller coaster ride, as big as it does get. So you do have those highs and lows, and I guess that was probably, I was expecting some of it, but just that, just as big swings and roundabouts and trying to make sure that you've actually got people around you to support you during those times. Both the good and the bad, because they do come and go. So
yep, I completely agree. So important to build your network and support around you, not just in your significant other, but also your business confidants and people as well.
Yeah, and sometimes your partner doesn't suit because they might not be the same as far as being a business owner. So it's good.
I'm sure my wife doesn't even know what I do most of the day. What's the source of your inspiration?
What's my inspiration? So look, it's a cheesy line, but I just love helping people. So it's just, you wake up and the troubleshooting and seeing people get that pain relief for what I do. That's the thing that keeps you going every day. Like, yep, cool, I found a solution and these people can move forward. So that's the key thing every day.
Yeah, fantastic. Lastly, where can we find you online if you want to get in touch?
It's all the usuals, as LinkedIn, as website, Facebook page. I'm sure Tim will share all those lovely details with you
as well. On all good social media channels, or Leath Lending Therapist on Google, and you'll definitely find him. And if you're in business and you need some cash, as I say, Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Thanks so much for joining us today, mate, and sharing what is a really cool and simple strategy to put in place. And I appreciate you.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate the opportunity.
And guys, thanks for listening in today. Look forward to another episode of More Clients, Less Effort soon. If you like today's episode, you want to catch more, make sure you click the 3 dots at the top of your phone, like, subscribe, and share. We'd love to see you on the next episode real soon.